The heavens fractured, not with a gentle sigh, but a cataclysmic roar that tore the very fabric of existence. Across the land of Uz, the earth writhed, a violent upheaval splitting the ground in fiery chasms, spewing molten rock and choking sulphurous smoke. Animals screamed, their terror a chilling echo of mankind's silent fear. This was no mere tremor. It was the eruption of cosmic warfare, a world caught in the crossfire of divine power. In celestial courts, beyond the shimmering veil of stars, a drama of unimaginable magnitude unfolded. The divine council, celestial beings of immense power, blazed with radiant light. The Lord, ultimate authority, surveyed his creation. His voice, the very essence of power, resonated across the expanse, silencing even the most glorious seraphim. "Have you considered my servant Job?" he asked, his gaze settling upon a figure of breathtaking brilliance, Satan. The question, deceptively simple, masked a wager of unimaginable consequence, a gamble on the very core of Job's unwavering faith. Satan, adversary, slithered forth, a shadow in overwhelming light, his presence a chilling mixture of malice and envy, casting a pall of dread. Ancient grudges hung heavy in the air. "Job, that righteous man?" Satan scoffed, venom dripping. "His piety is pretense, fueled by prosperity. Strip him of wealth, health, family. See how quickly devout words transform to curses." His voice, a viper's whisper, aimed at the divine heart. Unmoved, the Lord decreed a challenge to test Job's faith beyond measure, granting Satan permission, yet with limits. The devastation would astound angels. Not a mere trial, but a cosmic contest to etch Job's name in chronicles of faith. The stage was set, the world held its breath, convulsing from celestial discord. A deceptive calm cloaked the dawn. The sun ascended, casting gold across the fields of Uz. Job's servants worked, flocks grazed, children feasted joyfully. All seemed idyllic, yet shadows gathered. The first blow fell swiftly. A messenger, breathless, burst in. "My lord, Sabaeans attacked. Slaughtered servants, stole everything. I alone escaped." Before Job processed this, another stumbled in, robe torn, face smudged. "Fire from heaven, consumed sheep, servants, I barely escaped." The ground shuddered. A third arrived, collapsing. "Chaldeans attacked in waves, seized camels, slaughtered servants, plundered animals. I alone escaped." Job gripped his chair, losses crashing down. Wealth gone, livestock destroyed, lands plundered. A fourth messenger, eyes wide, lips trembling, entered. "My lord, your sons, daughters." A terrible silence descended, feasting at their brother's house when a wind roared from the wilderness, struck the house, all dead. I alone escaped. Words like hammer blows. Job swayed, breath shallow, children gone, no natural disaster. A heart-rending cry escaped. He rose, tore his robe, threw himself down in dust, worshipped. "Naked I came, naked I return. The Lord gave, the Lord has taken. Blessed be the name of the Lord." Satan watched, a cruel smile twisting his lips. Job had not yet broken. Heavens remained silent. Chaos consumed Job's world. Air in Uz hung heavy. Earth mourned. The sun cast long shadows on the dust where he knelt, body racked, soul torn, yet lips uttered no curse. Satan's assault was far from over. In celestial courts, the adversary stood before the Almighty. "Where do you come from?" The Lord's voice boomed. Satan smirked, roaming the earth, traversing it. The Lord's voice, a searing flame, cut through. "Have you considered Job? blameless, upright, fears God, shuns evil, still clings to integrity, though you provoked me to destroy him without cause. Darkness settled on Satan's features. He stepped forward, voice insidious. Skin for skin, a man gives all for his life. Let your hand fall, touch his flesh, and he will curse you. The Lord responded, unwavering, Behold, he is in your power, but spare his life. Satan vanished. A new wave of suffering crashed on Job. Pain sudden, excruciating, agony consumed flesh. Horrific boils erupted, head to toe. Limbs trembled, skin cracked, breath ragged, torment exceeding physical wounds. Job stumbled, face pale, body broken, collapsed among ashes, the wasteland of former prosperity. Trembling hands scraped festering sores. He was utterly ruined, a man reduced to nothing, yet he did not curse God. His wife, enduring loss of children, wealth, position, gazed upon him with grief curdled into bitterness. Stepping forward, voice sharp with sorrow and despair, she spoke, Do you still cling to integrity? Curse God and die. Words struck like poisoned daggers. Job, body ravaged, lifted weary eyes, voice hoarse, resolve unshaken. You speak like a foolish woman. Shall we accept only good and not evil? In all this, Job did not curse God. In heavens, Satan seethed, rage burning, but Job remained steadfast. A profound silence descended on us. Where laughter and prosperity thrived, now emptiness remained. The wind carried the stench of dust and decay. The once great man, revered as wealthiest in the East, sat amongst ashes, skin a canvas of sores, body emaciated, spirit tested. News of his suffering spread. From distant lands, 3 figures approached, Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite. They had been friends of Job, and upon hearing of his affliction, they journeyed to offer comfort. Yet when they saw him from afar, their steps faltered. Could this be Job? This ravaged figure, skin blackened, eyes hollowed, the sight shattered their composure. They wept, tore robes, cast dust, signs of mourning. For 7 days and nights they sat with Job, their silence a testament to the immensity of his suffering and the inadequacy of words. What words could offer solace? How could anyone comfort a man abandoned by heaven? Finally, on the 8th day, Job broke the silence, his voice hoarse, echoing the mournful cry of a dying wind. Faith remained, but spirit weary. May the day of my birth be cursed. May the night of my conception be desolate. His hands trembled. Why was I not stillborn? Why did I emerge? Why did mother's breasts nourish me? His grief immeasurable, pain unbearable. Yet never did he curse God. Instead, he cursed his own existence. At last, his friends spoke. Eliphaz, the eldest, leaned forward, his voice calm, holding wisdom. If we speak, will it cause pain? But who can remain silent in the face of suffering? Job said nothing. Eliphaz continued, Who has ever perished while innocent? Where have the righteous been cut off? The implication clear. Job must have sinned, transgressed, his suffering just punishment. Job's head lifted, lips parted, but he did not respond. In the unseen realms, Satan watched, a cruel smile playing upon his lips. The true battle had only just begun. Job's weary eyes narrowed. The suggestion his calamity was self-inflicted, punishment deserved, cut deeper than physical wounds. Yet he did not lash out, simply breathed, gathering strength. Oh, that my anguish were weighed, my misery placed upon a scale. It would be heavier than the sea. Therefore, my words are swallowed. He looked at Eliphaz, voice growing stronger. Teach me, and I will hold my tongue. Show me where I have erred. A heavy silence stretched. Eliphaz sighed, gaze steady. Can mortals judge God? Can man be purer than his maker? His voice, unwavering, convinced Job's suffering was consequence of actions. Job shook his head, suffering too profound for pronouncements. Your words offer miserable comfort, he whispered, eyes burning with sorrow. Eliphaz leaned forward, tone softening, conviction unshaken. Blessed is the man God corrects, despise not the discipline. Job clenched fists, pain too intense. Oh, that someone could plead my case before God as one pleads for a neighbor. His voice cracked, yearning for answer from God. Yet the heavens remained silent. Bildad spoke, voice sharper. Does God pervert justice? If your children sinned, he cast them away? The words, a fresh wound. His children, perished for iniquities? Were their lives deemed wicked? No, he could not accept. Bildad pressed on, unrelenting. If pure and upright, surely he would intercede, make your habitation prosperous. Job's body shuddered, head sinking. Was righteousness a contract? Why had he, who feared God, been cast into suffering? His voice rose, defiant. Behold, God takes away. Who can hinder him? Who can say, what doest thou? A seed of doubt sprouted. Had pleas been in vain? Had righteousness become meaningless? Still God remained silent. The desert wind whispered through ruins. The silence stretched, mirroring the empty horizon. Then Zophar spoke, his words swift, sharp. Should words go unanswered? Should a man be vindicated? You declared, my doctrine is pure. Oh, that God would speak. Job raised his gaze, eyes meeting Zophar's. You say I have spoken without understanding, but how can a mortal be righteous in God's sight? If one contends, they cannot answer one of thousands. He exhaled, trembling. They did not understand. They had reduced his suffering to equation. Sin equals suffering, righteousness equals blessing. Job knew it was inadequate. God destroys both righteous and wicked, he continued, voice laced with disappointment. If plague strikes, God laughs at trial of innocent. The three stiffened. Was Job accusing God? Job's voice, strained, became a plea. I will say, do not condemn me. Show me why you contend with me. Still, heaven silent. Zophar shook his head, certainty wavering. Know this, God demands less than your iniquity deserves. The words struck harder than any blow. He closed his eyes, pain unbearable. He could endure loss of wealth, death of children, the agony of disease, but this, to be judged, told his suffering was deserved, was cruelty surpassing all. Miserable comfort as you are, Job whispered. He lifted his eyes, faith burning. Even if he kills me, I will trust him. Faith held fast, but doubt took root. God remained silent. The sun beat down, heat shimmering. Job remained steadfast, his body a ruin, his spirit clinging to hope. However, his friends had turned against him, acting as judges, pronouncements cloaked as counsel. Don't you know this truth? Bildad said coldly, devoid of empathy. The triumph of the wicked is short-lived, the joy fleeting. Job inhaled sharply, a spark of anger. Do they believe I am a hypocrite? Bildad pressed on. The wicked will perish. Heavens reveal their iniquity. Rage began to consume Job, not at friends, but pity for their God of punishment, lacking mystery, patience for the unknown. Job's suffering defied explanation. If no explanation, where was justice? Where was God? Job clenched fists, body trembling. His voice rose, weak, defiant. How long will you torment me? You reproach me. Are you not ashamed of such cruelty? He exhaled, shuddering. Have mercy, for the hand of God has struck me. Doubt appeared in Eliphaz, Bildad, Zophar. Had they judged hastily? But Job was not finished. He raised his face, voice trembling, yet filled with defiance. Oh, that my words were written, printed in a book! The wind stirred. For I know my Redeemer lives. He will stand on earth at the last day. These words resonated like prophecy. His body might crumble, his name be scorned, his life nothing but suffering, but he would see God again. Even if the Almighty did not answer now, he would one day. With those words, Job's suffering took on a new, profound significance. The wind shifted, stillness settled, yet something had changed. The words hung in the air, potent. Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar observed, their certainty shaken. Had they misjudged him? Misjudged God? The silence proved short-lived. Zophar scoffed, regaining authority. Should one who hates justice govern? Would you condemn the most just? The others nodded, confidence diminished, reasserting, God shows no favoritism, will not aid the wicked. The message was stark. Job, you have sinned. Repent. But Job possessed no sin to confess. He clenched his jaw, breath ragged. His friends had become accusers. Though his body broken, his spirit burned. Oh, that I knew where I might find him. I would order my cause, fill my mouth with arguments. His fists clenched, pain eclipsed by determination. I go forward, but he is not there. Backward, but I cannot perceive him. On the left hand, but I cannot behold him. His breath hitched, yet fueled by faith, he pressed on. He knows the path I take. When tested, I will emerge as pure gold. His declaration stunned them. Even in torment, Job did not yield. He did not understand his suffering, did not know why God was silent, but he knew one truth. He would trust God, even in darkness. In the heavens, though unseen, the Almighty listened. The sky stretched vast, empty, offering no solace, no intervention. Job remained, spirit weary, resolve unbroken. His friends, once so confident, regarded him with doubt. Had they spoken truth, fundamentally misjudged God? Bildad, however, was not prepared to relinquish judgment. He leaned forward, voice sharp. Dominion and awe belong to him. He establishes peace in his high places. Job remained silent, gaze fixed. Bildad's tone hardened. How then can man be justified before God? Or how can one born of woman be truly pure? Even the moon does not shine perfectly. The stars are not pure. He pointed at Job. Much less man, who is but a worm. The words hung heavy, charged with accusations. Job exhaled slowly, voice low. How have you helped the powerless? He countered, a quiet challenge. Bildad frowned, taken aback. Job's voice intensified. How have you rescued the arm that has no strength? Whose spirit has guided you? His friends offered no response. Job lifted his eyes. Sheol is naked before him. Destruction has no hiding place. He stretches out the north, hangs the earth on nothing. He binds waters in clouds, conceals his throne, spreads his cloud. Job inhaled deeply, trembling, the intensity of conviction. These are but glimpses. How little we understand him. A profound silence fell. Even his friends were now speechless, for Job had spoken beyond comprehension. The sun beat down, the heat shimmering. Job, a broken man, sat with friends, silence broken by the wind. They regarded Job with unease. Their arguments crumbled before his suffering and faith. Zophar attempted to break the silence, voice less sharp, still carrying accusation. God will not cast away the blameless, nor support the wicked. His words lacked conviction. The unwavering steadfastness weighed heavily. Job, despite torment, seemed to rise above pain. He spoke slowly, words measured. "Oh, that my words were written, printed in a book, engraved in rock forever." His voice resonated with longing, justice, explanation eluding all. He described God's power and majesty, power vast that Job's suffering seemed insignificant. He spoke of creation, of God's hand in all things. His friends sat in stunned silence. Job's words were no longer accusations, but a prayer, a cry into the heavens. A testament to the indomitable spirit tested beyond measure and yet remained unbroken. Even his accusers found their beliefs challenged by Job's anguish and unwavering devotion. The sun dipped, shadows stretching. Job, weakened, remained resolute. His friends, though silent, were far from unconvinced. The weight had shaken their certainties, planting doubt. Eliphaz spoke, voice softer, less accusatory. God is mighty, shows no favoritism, pays no attention to words. Eliphaz conceded, attempting to find common ground. Job, though exhausted, burned with desire for understanding, a lament, not accusation. He spoke of God's ways, vast unknown. Oh, that I were as in months past, when God protected me, shone his light, I walked through darkness. His voice cracked with longing. His lament was not a curse, but a plea expressing unexplainable mysteries. He did not question power, but questioned meaning. Bildad remained unconvinced, clinging to interpretations. Where is home of wicked? He asserted beliefs, suffering as consequence of sin. The question, a challenge to reinforce understanding of God's justice. Job's reply was resignation. Have you observed the path the wicked have trodden? Those cut down before their time, swept away by a flood. Job responded, they have gone to the grave with their wealth. His voice weak, as if strength expended to maintain faith, reconcile with inscrutable God. The mystery of judgment, enigma of suffering, these questions reverberated. The night sky blazed with indifferent stars. A cold wind swept across the landscape. Job, weakened yet resolute, sat with friends. Their words pressed heavily. But Job's faith had not been broken. Zophar attempted to reassert wisdom. Where is the hope of the hypocrite? Job responded, not with anger, but with quiet intensity. Oh, that you would utterly crush me, Job cried, not in defiance, but in yearning, seeking understanding. Oh, that you would hide me in Sheol, appoint a time, and remember me. His cry was not rebellion, but despair, a plea for release. His discourse continued, imbued with longing for God to reveal the mystery. His friends questioned whether they grasped God's plan, which appeared beyond understanding. Eliphaz steered the conversation, sensing inadequacy. Remember your confidence, reflect on words heard, Eliphaz suggested, a hint of doubt. But Job refused comfort. His lament exposed the limitations of interpretations. Why did you bring me forth? Oh, that I had given up the ghost. I would have been as though I had not been. Job's words were poignant, abandoned by all. Bildad fell silent. no longer possessed easy answers to alleviate the unshakable faith. The three friends found themselves adrift in face of Job's suffering. The night pressed on, heavy with questions. The dawn broke, contrasting the spiritual darkness. Yet darkness persisted, profound loneliness. His friends sat in humbled silence. Zophar felt compelled to speak, attempt to re-establish order. "Why do you contend with him?" Zophar questioned, "for he gives no account of matters." Job, though exhausted, remained defiant. His faith, though tested, had not wavered. His words, though filled with anguish, held testament to the indomitable spirit. "If I attempt to justify myself, my own mouth will condemn me." Job's words, a profound expression of humility. He knew he was not perfect, yet clung to faith. His discourse, a lament, a challenge, grief, pain, and hope transcended human understanding. He spoke not only of personal suffering, but mysteries of the universe. God, who seemed powerful and frustrating, both just and inscrutable. Eliphaz attempted to offer comfort. "But God will redeem my soul from the grave." Eliphaz's words felt inadequate. Job's suffering transcended simple answers. His pain, questions, struggle, a journey with the heart of existence. Bildad attempted to interject, but Job's outpouring was too powerful. His speech flowed, a torrent, faith, endurance, persistent search. Job's words echoed with the raw honesty of a heart laid bare. The sun climbed higher, the heat increasing, yet Job's words flowed, a torrent of emotion. His friends listened, their pronouncements insignificant. Job spoke of former prosperity, blessings. He did not recount with bitterness, but with longing. He described his past not to boast, but provide context. "But now younger than I mock me." The irony was not lost on him. Reversal of fortune, a reminder of life's nature. His lament continued, resonating with alienation. He expressed loneliness, not with anger, but with wrenching honesty. "My brothers have proven deceitful." Job used imagery to illustrate the inadequacy of their support. Eliphaz attempted consolation, yet his words seemed pale. "Surely you have heard Proverbs," Eliphaz offered. Job rejected platitudes, his heart cried out. He continued to plead, not in accusation, but in longing. Bildad and Zophar remained silent, recognizing the limitations. They recognized the immensity of Job's struggle. The silence hung heavy with questions. The midday sun beat down. Job, racked with pain, continued his discourse, emotion, grief, and faith. His friends, once confident, now sat in silence, dwarfed by the suffering. Job's voice carried strength, a defiant spirit. He spoke not only of suffering, but of life, death, inexplicable ways of God. "Behold, I go forward, but he is not there." Job articulated God's absence, clinging to hope. He employed imagery to express feelings of abandonment, yet refusing despair. He was not lamenting, he was grappling with the existential questions. Zophar attempted a different approach. "Shall we receive good at the hand of God, and shall we not receive evil?" Zophar's words, an attempt to find common ground, hesitant. Job continued his impassioned plea, his words faith, hope, and resilience. His friends now listened in awe. "Oh, that I knew where I might find him," Job exclaimed, yearning for understanding, "that I might come even to his seat." He yearned not for retribution, but reconciliation. Bildad and Eliphaz remained silent, rendered insignificant by Job's words. The weight of his pain, God's ways, and human understanding, these were realities unspoken yet powerfully felt. The sun began its descent. A cold wind whispered. Job continued his plea. His friends sat in silence, dwarfed. Job's words were exploration of faith, wrestling with existence. He questioned not God's power, but his purpose, seeking to understand. "If I wait, the grave is my house," he lamented, his words isolation. His lament was yearning for connection, a glimpse into the plan. He wasn't complaining, he was struggling to reconcile faith. Eliphaz attempted comfort. "But he knows the path I take. I will emerge as pure gold," Eliphaz offered. But Job's pain ran deep for platitudes. He continued describing feelings, longing, unshakable faith in a God whose ways remained mysterious. Bildad recognized the limitations, futility. He attempted a different approach. "But indeed, you have strengthened the weak hands," Bildad responded, shifting from judgment to empathy. Zophar remained silent, the weight of faith pressing. The silence grew heavy, filled with unspoken questions. The sun dipped below, plunging the landscape into darkness. Yet, the darkness within Job was spiritual struggle, unwavering faith. He sat with friends, weary, yet resolve unbroken. His friends, once sure, listened in silence, seeming insignificant. Job's lament continued, exploration of faith. "Oh, that my words were written," he cried, "that they were printed in a book." He yearned for his experience to be documented, understood, a testament to the human spirit. His plea was expression of a man grappling. His words were questions, heartfelt pleas. He questioned not power, but purpose, searching for meaning. Eliphaz attempted to offer comfort, but his words fell short. He echoed Job's words. "But he knows the path I take. I will emerge as pure gold," Eliphaz repeated. Bildad, equally humbled, remained silent, recognizing the futility. He had witnessed faith. Zophar remained silent, rendered meaningless. The silence pressed heavily. The power of Job's faith, the profundity of his suffering, the mysteries of God's ways. The wind howled a dirge, echoing Job's pain. Yet, within that pain, hope flickered, a hope that transcended, a belief that one day the mysteries would be revealed. The night remained dark, yet within the darkness, faith burned brightly. The first rays of dawn painted the sky, a new beginning. Yet the weight hung heavy, silence punctuated by the wind. Job, his faith unbroken, sat with friends. The immensity, the questions, the strength, all had left an impact. Then a voice broke the silence, a voice that echoed across the landscape, filled their hearts with awe. It was not the voice of Eliphaz, Bildad, or Zophar, it was the voice of God. This divine voice was not anger, but majesty. It spoke not of retribution, but of immensity, power, and limitations of human understanding. God's words challenged Job's assumptions, understanding of justice. He reminded Job of his insignificance before creation, unfathomable wisdom. God's power was laid bare, humbling Job and his friends who had attempted to interpret God's ways through simplistic lenses. The conversation was not condemnation, but revelation. God did not offer answers, but provided expansion of perspective, revealing ignorance before grandeur. In the end, Job's faith emerged stronger. He had wrestled with mysteries, limitations, and injustice. He had endured, persevered, and had come to greater understanding of God's power. His ordeal had transformed him. The story of Job does not conclude with a simple resolution, but with a testament to faith, the enigma of suffering, and the incomprehensibility of the divine. His suffering had been immense, but so too was his faith. His questions remained, yet so too did his unshakable belief. The story ends not with answers, but with the enduring mystery of a God whose ways are beyond human understanding, yet whose presence is deeply felt within the human heart. The sun, now fully risen, cast a golden light across the transformed landscape of Uz. The wind, though still present, no longer carried the weight of unanswered questions and despair. Job, though still bearing the physical scars of his ordeal, sat amidst his friends, his spirit renewed, his faith deepened. The immensity of his suffering, the profound questions he had grappled with, the unwavering strength of his faith, all had left an indelible mark, not only on Job himself, but also on those who had once so confidently judged him. The previous night's conversation with God had reshaped his understanding. The Almighty had not provided simple answers, but had offered a glimpse into the vastness of creation, the boundless nature of his power, and the inherent limitations of human comprehension when attempting to fathom the divine. Job had been humbled, challenged, yet ultimately strengthened by his ordeal. His faith, tested beyond measure, had emerged stronger and more profound. He now understood the inadequacy of his friends' earlier pronouncements. Their focus on a simple equation of sin and suffering had been too narrow, too human-centric to comprehend the complexities of God's ways. He recognized that they had attempted to apply human logic to divine mysteries, failing to grasp the immensity of the Creator's plan. Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, humbled by their previous misjudgments and awed by Job's unwavering faith, now listened with newfound respect and humility as Job spoke of his newfound understanding. Job, acknowledging their past accusations, did not seek retribution, but offered forgiveness, born of his deepened faith and his broadened perspective. He spoke of the importance of humility in the face of the divine and the limitations of human reason when attempting to understand the seemingly unjust nature of suffering. He shared his newfound understanding of God's power, the immense complexity of creation, and the limits of human comprehension when attempting to grasp the inscrutable ways of the Almighty. His suffering, though intense and seemingly without cause, had ultimately served to strengthen his faith and deepen his connection to the divine. The transformation in Job was evident to all. His physical wounds remained a stark reminder of his ordeal, but his spirit, once crushed by despair, now shone with a newfound strength and resilience. The sun reached its zenith, casting a warm, life-giving light across the land of Uz. The landscape, though still bearing the scars of the recent devastation, seemed to breathe anew, mirroring the transformation within Job himself. He sat with his three friends, the weight of their past misjudgments and accusations now replaced by a shared sense of awe and wonder. Job's ordeal had not only tested his faith, but had also profoundly altered the understanding of his friends, challenging their previously held assumptions about God's ways and the nature of suffering. Job, in the aftermath of his immense suffering and his subsequent encounter with the Almighty, possessed a wisdom and perspective that far surpassed anything he had known before. He spoke not of condemnation or retribution, but of the unfathomable nature of God's power, the boundless complexity of his creation, and the inherent limitations of human understanding when attempting to comprehend the divine plan. He spoke of humility, recognizing his own insignificance before the grandeur of the Almighty. He emphasized the importance of trusting in God even in the face of seemingly inexplicable suffering. His friends listened intently, their earlier pronouncements now seeming simplistic and inadequate in light of Job's profound experience. They had witnessed the unwavering strength of Job's faith, his unwavering trust in a God whose ways, though often mysterious and seemingly unjust, ultimately held a deeper, more profound wisdom. Their perspectives had been reshaped, their understanding expanded, their faith deepened by Job's ordeal. The story of Job concludes not with a simple resolution, but with a powerful testament to the resilience of faith, the enduring mystery of suffering, and the ultimate incomprehensibility of the divine. Job's suffering had been immense, exceeding all bounds, yet his faith had emerged from the trial stronger and more profound. His questions remained, yet so too did his unwavering belief in a God whose ways, though often inscrutable, ultimately served a greater purpose. The narrative ends, not with definitive answers, but with the persistent mystery of a God whose ways defy human understanding, yet whose presence is palpably felt in the depths of the human heart. The story of Job stands as a testament to the enduring power of faith and the ultimate triumph of the human spirit in the face of profound suffering.